Hi, and welcome to my new channel. I'm anything but an expert. I thought it was time I perhaps dived into a few other aspects so that you get to know who I am. Um, I live in Victoria, Australia, um, and what prompted this video today is that I'm going to add to my savings challenge. I've got this thing going and now it is officially the first of 2025. I am actually going to really start getting this underway. I have challenged myself to save some cash. I do other savings, some other stuff in the bank, but I also wanted a cash savings challenge because I wanted to see it, I want to feel it, and I just want to, I just want it to be tangible. I've done it a few times in the past. Over the years I've done it, but this time I'm doing a more comprehensive one, and I'm going to do some smaller challenges throughout, either with coins or small notes or other things. But I'm going to just do this for 2025. This video is also for my accountability as well. But who am I? I'm married, been married for 45 years to the same person. We live in country Victoria, and I do have multiple sources of income. And perhaps maybe this is an inspiration for someone to have a think about. Okay, you might be in your 60s like me, but and retirement is coming up, but it doesn't mean the end of income generation. There are other things that you can do. So for me, I have a near full-time job, and I work as a financial counsellor, and I've been in that sector for many years. I also have a casual on-call role, and I work for it's an on-call after hours thing. It's a specialist response service for family violence. I also earn interest on term deposits, so that's another source of income. I am building my superannuation. I contribute to that as well as my employer. And I also have an eBay store. And not only the eBay store, but I also have some of my product in a local shop in a tourist area. And this is actually what prompted all of this, to talk about convoluted way of describing it. But what started this was I went down to the shop yesterday and I collected some cash from the sales that have been made. Now, when I say cash, that's how he's dealing with it, as cash. But I have already purchased and accounted for the items. So I actually have, to add to my savings challenge, I actually have $150, which here I am in my trusty wallet. I've still got the 85 that I put in there the other day because we've pretty much been at home, haven't really gone anywhere, done too much, kept out of all the tourists' way. I think that's 150. 50 said, yeah, that's $90 in the phone case. So I'll just go 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Oh, it's 130. Never mind. 130 is going to go in there. I thought it was 150, but it's 130. So I'm going to put that into my little savings challenge. So that means so far I've got $330 for my $600 goal for January this year. So halfway there. That's a good start. But income is both immediate and delayed, isn't it? Because when I talk about building superannuation and I talk about my term deposits, they're building income, but I'm just not getting it now. I'm not dividend reinvest, but I just roll over the term deposit so that the interest continues to compound, because that is the magic of compound interest, isn't it? What else do I want to talk about? I've mentioned in one of my other videos that whilst I've been a financial counsellor for a long time and I've assisted many people and provided information, advice, I've provided their rights and responsibilities, many thousands of people. This is where did it come from? Like I said, even when I was first started work, when I was 17 years of age and I finished school, and I first started work, I became aware of the ability to, like I said, I didn't know what it was called then. It's like pay myself first, but I didn't know that's what it was called. I just learned that through my employment, through public sector credit union, I could put money aside and I never touched it. My employer sent the money over and I couldn't touch it unless I filled in a withdrawal form, posted it, and had to wait for a check to come back. So I learnt then this delayed gratification, the principle of paying yourself first. And I was always a pretty good saver. Like by the time I was 18, I was able to pay for a car. I never had a car loan. As tempting as it was, I did not get a car loan. I was scared shitless of getting a loan. I don't know why, but I just didn't want to do it. I grew up in a fairly poor household. We lived in housing commission. So money was precious and I knew the value of money. And, my mum passed down some of her stories from her childhood coming out of the Great Depression in the late 1920s into the early 1930s. So I learned then about delayed gratification. I learned about savings. When I met my husband, I had enough cash to pay off his car loan. Shame on him. And that at least meant when we started our married life, we were completely debt-free, which was fantastic. We even did our holiday debt-free. Honeymoon, not holiday, but honeymoon. So then when we came back, we got a house loan. It was just a small thing. It was done locally. It was I don't even realise if I understand it fully, but it was some government money that came out to help people. It was administered by a local legal office. It was low interest, and it was capped. We could only get 25 grand. That was it. It was capped. So we got out of that. We got a block of land for 10. We got a house for a kit home for 15. My husband put it all together. Look, I did painting and I did other things that were non-technical and I was only 19 at the time. I had no skills. But he put it all together, and throughout that process of building that little house, we had to save money so that we could do the fencing, because that was actually the condition of the final payment, was that it had to be fenced. So we had to save money and do that. And I remember him working till midnight or later, till the fog rolled in and he couldn't even do any more work, but he had the headlights on, the car running, or his ute running, and he was building that fence by headlight, just to make sure that we met the deadlines and what have you. So we were quite a conscientious young couple, and we got that little place built. We had no floor coverings, we had no curtains, we had no furniture. Oh, think back now, and so many people probably wouldn't want to do that, but that's exactly how we started. And I remember putting our carpet on lay-by. I chose the carpet, and I was able to just pay it off every fortnight with our pays and so on until we probably paid for the bulk of it. And then our carpet layer, bless his heart, he says, look, this stuff's in my way. You've nearly paid for it, he said, so we're going to come and lay it and you can just pay the rest of it off. So we'd build up that trust. The same happened with some furniture. We put it on lay-by with a local furniture shop. And eventually they said to us, look, this is in our way. We know you're going to continue paying. So here, have it. And we'll worry about it later. And I was like, how cool was that? That was really nice. So that's about the building up the trust too. And then I budgeted. And as I said before in another video, I budgeted and I did that. I've got to see if I can find the sheets. I think I might have thrown them all out, but I may have kept a few. I'm not sure. If I find them, I will show you. But I drew up a grid, and it was by quarter. And I had all of the bills that had to be paid and which quarter they were due in. So car regos, insurances, utilities, phone bills, different sort of phone bills back then to what they are now. And I had that all structured. I set up a bill paying account so that fortnightly money went in there. and we had enough money to always pay the bills. We were never behind with the bills because there was always that cash float. I got it to 2 grand so that there was always that buffer. So it's money management has been always a focus of our life. You know, we were able to save up and go take the kids to Alice Springs for a holiday. We took the kids to the Whitsundays for a holiday. We did a trip around Tassie with the kids for a holiday. Later on, we did a trip to New Zealand. We were able to always compartmentalize our money. Well, like what is required for our essentials, what is required for day-to-day living in terms of food and petrol and so on, and then what can we put aside. There were times where we're not able to put money aside. We were in some lean times, particularly when the kids were little and I was not working in full-time employment. I was a stay-at-home mum for 9 years. So during that time, we were pretty lean and we weren't always able to save, and things got a little desperate at one point. I remember when with the car we needed tyres, and I know that was our bit of a turning point for us, and I said to my husband that I don't know where the money's going to come from to pay for tyres for this thing. And it was at that point we decided he had really good skills, he had multiple trades, and we just knew that we had to do something that would capitalize on those skills, and that required us shifting, and we moved away. We followed work, and led to far better employment, better income, a career for him in hospital engineering. So it you know, sometimes you have to step out of your comfort zone. You have to go where the work is. I remember my dad saying that you've got to go where the work is, because he shifted us as kids. We were up in the Mallee and we ended up in East Gippsland because that was where good work was for him. So, you know, I know I deal with people in my work who say that, oh, I can't possibly shift, you know, this is my home. Well, it's only your home while you can sustain it. And sometimes it is a bitter pill to swallow, but sometimes you have to go where that work is. You just have to be focused on the income more so. You can come back to the lifestyle, because that's what we've done. We've come back to the lifestyle. Been away for 25, nearly 30 years, but we've come back to the lifestyle. So you can come back. All is not lost. And you can visit, which we did. We always visited. So let's have a look. Okay, so you on the savings, and I'm going to talk more about that as the year progresses and do some more savings challenges as well. But I think it's also interesting if I can share a couple of stories through these videos, through these all video chats, that talk about the work that I do as a financial counsellor. It's a really interesting role. We're not financial planners. We don't do wealth creation and like financial plans for people and, you know, help them build their wealth. What we do is we try and help people preserve what they've got. You know, they might have illness where they can't work. They might have relationship issues, which, you know, blows everything out of the water for them. There could be unemployment, periods of unemployment. How do they manage their commitments when those things happen? So that's where we step in, is we talk about what are some options, how to handle some situations. We can then help advocate with the creditors. We present the story, we present the evidence, the information, and we'll, you know, work with creditors, try and save some situations. And in a lot of cases we do. We're really good. Financial counsellors are, you know, always work in not-for-profits. That's because we have to. We're not allowed to work for profit. We work within the not-for-profit space. We don't advertise, so sometimes it's a little hard to find them, but you just Google and you'll find a financial counsellor. But things like, we would say, let's say someone comes to us and they've got mortgage arrears. They've had they've had a job loss, and maybe the job loss was due to a relationship breakdown. Perhaps someone's had some mental health issues as a result, but maybe they're back at work. Maybe they've had their period of time, now they're back at work. So, okay, things are back on track, sort of, but now there's some mortgage arrears to deal with. So what we'll do is we'll, you know, they'll say to us, how can I catch up on those arrears? Okay, we'll come up with perhaps we'll create a really good income and expense document so that we do an analysis, and we may do a full statement of financial position where we know what their income expenses are, what their assets and liabilities are, where is, what can we do with their income to help get this back on track. And the first thing that we want to establish is, can they maintain their normal contract payments? Can they pay in full and on time? And if the answer is yes, and we can demonstrate that to the creditor, it's probably a bank, we'll then say, can we put in an arrangement, say 6 months, and then our client will then start that process and they will pay their normal contract payments for the mortgage on time, in full, no drama, 6 months. And then at the end of 6 months, there's some options with that. We might actually, we might look at providing what we call capitalisation of the arrears, where the arrears get absorbed back into the loan, and then the bank customer might be able to either extend the term of the loan, or they might be able to just pay a little bit extra so that the term isn't extended. So we do that 6 months of serviceability of the loan, proves it to the bank that they're all good to go, get those arrears absorbed back into the loan, and they're good to go. Whereas, some people think that, oh, I've got these arrears, I have to pay them all at once. No, not always. So our role is to assess the situation, help them with a few, some information. We then work with the creditor, the bank, and put a plan in place. And then hopefully situation is resolved, everyone's happy, back on track, everyone's good to go. There are dozens and dozens of variations of that. It's not always that, clear cut. But in time, I'll probably part with a few other stories or examples or topics that, you might find interesting, and you might even have some questions. That's okay. You can ask questions in the comments, and then that will prompt me to do perhaps a video or a topic on that. But so that's kind of me. I just wanted to perhaps be a little bit more transparent and say me, and perhaps give a little credibility to some of the things I talk about with money. I have actually got so much to say, but I better not say it all in this video, or I'll, you can only absorb so much. And but I have got plenty to say, plenty to share, plenty of thoughts. I'll give one. I just saw something pop up on Facebook the other day about this guy who's, got this marvelous program, how you can save hundreds of thousands of dollars off your mortgage. And I thought, oh, what's he talking about? And yeah, he's got a strategy that kind of works, but he then wants you, but he's a mortgage broker, and he then wants you to subscribe, and then it obviously costs you money to hear his plan. His plan is no better than back in, if you were to research back in the 80s, late 80s, mid to late 80s, a woman by the name of Anita Bell. I haven't seen anything of Anita for a long time, but she came out with a book that said, pay off your mortgage in 5 years. I don't think the book's even available now. You'd have to get it secondhand. But her strategy was to pay more often and pay more, and just pay more often. And instead of a monthly payment, you do a weekly payment, and you pay more, because if your balance is, your interest is calculated on a daily basis, the more you can reduce that balance, the less interest is calculated. So, and it may not be 5 years now because the mortgages are bigger, but it might be 10 years. But you know what? I followed her strategy, and I remember going into our bank, with Bendigo Bank, and I went in there, and by the way, I'm not sponsored by anything that I say. Absolutely not. So don't get any funny ideas about that. I went into our bank one day and said, how far in front are we with our mortgage? And we were 11 years and 9 months. And I skipped out of there, and I couldn't wait to go home and show my husband the piece of paper that said we were 11 years and 9 months in front. And I was just, yes. And, you know, a goal, I became very, very intense about getting this thing paid off. And we would not even walk past the bank door unless we went in and put $10 in on the mortgage. And I'm sure it must have raised eyebrows in the banks, but, you know, I don't care. I don't care. I wanted to save the money, save the interest, and remembering, of course, that the interest is not the problem, despite everyone saying, oh, the interest rates are high and I need to get the interest rates down because that will make things so much easier for me. It won't. It's the 30-year loan that you've got that's the bigger problem. The 500,000 or the 800,000 is a bigger problem than the interest. And if you can, anyway, there's other strategies to talk about, and an offset account is not necessarily the best one. There are other options, but these are what can I say? I'm not giving financial advice, but I do like talking strategies. And everybody has to do their own research, though. That's the caveat. Everybody has to do what suits them. But there are some accepted wisdoms that I think are worth challenging from time to time. And also, people don't talk about this much. So where do you find it out? Unless you read Anita's books, unless you read Scott Pape's, his books, you know, unless you watch information, it's hard to know what to do. You're a bit trapped sometimes by the big banks and their colourful brochures. So, but anyway, yes, my information is experience, and you must do what works for you and your family always. But my thought is that you must have an open mind and be willing to think that if other people can do things more efficiently or save a lot of money, what have they done to do that? And what could I implement that will work for me? But I'm going to go and let you go, and I'm going to continue working on my goal of $7,200 in cash for this year. I hope it's more. I actually do hope it's more, because like I say, I'm going to do some other little ones in the meantime and build on that. So thumbs up, subscribe, more to come. Catch ya. Bye.